So this video is kind of long overdue, but something that I get asked a lot as an adult collector is, what are my Grail dolls? Like, what are some Barbie dolls that I absolutely have to own one day? And for the most part, because I've been collecting since 2017, I've collected for a while now, I've kind of accumulated all of the affordable dolls that I would consider Grail dolls. So I had made a list on my phone, and I printed it out here just to make this video easier, of all of my Grail dolls that I would love to own one day, but a lot of these are kind of up there in price. I thought this would be a fun video idea because I do get asked this question a lot. So the first thing, or a couple of things that I want to talk about on this list, are Barbie related, but they're not dolls. And this first one is so obscure that a lot of y'all have probably never even heard of it before. So in the late 1980s, Mattel had licensed out the Barbie brand to a company called Arco. And Arco was a toy manufacturer that has since been bought out by Mattel because, you know, evil corporation. But in the 1980s, I believe Arco kind of specialized in stuffed animals at that time. I think that's kind of why Mattel decided to subcontract out for this specific Barbie item. But Mattel had contracted Arco Toys to create a new line of Barbie stuffed animals called Barbie Soft Sparkly Friends. And these things are so cute. There was 3 in the original series. There was a dog, a bear, and also the Barbie Dream Bear. And of course, as you all know, I already love Care Bears. So the Soft Sparkly Friends Dream Bear is one of my absolute Grail Barbie items, even though he isn't even a doll. But he is so rare, and I want him so bad, but I literally never even see him listed on eBay at all. There's hardly any images of him on the internet, but he is so adorable. I actually animated him in this episode, and I don't really think anybody got the reference because, like I said, a lot of y'all probably never even heard of this guy, but he's so cute. And because, you know, I already collect Care Bears, I mean, it's kind of Barbie related and it's also a bear, so it kind of marries the two collections together. I would absolutely love to own this guy one day. He is honestly probably my top thing on my Grail list, and that's kind of why I mentioned him first. And if you all have this guy or know anybody that owns him, please, like, just send me images of him in real life, because there is so few images that exist on the internet of this guy. Now, there was a second wave of Soft Sparkly Friends by Arco that was actually called Soft Rockin' Friends, and I believe that was kind of to coincide with the Barbie and the Rockers line of dolls. It actually had the Barbie and the Rockers logo on the box, I believe. But that wave was more neon, and I believe that there was also 3 stuffed animals in that line as well. One of them included the Upbeat Monkey, which I had never even heard of him before until making this video and researching Arco Toys a little bit. But there are absolutely no images of the Upbeat Monkey online, like, at all, so he's even more rare. I actually did at one point think I was going to own the Dream Bear because I had reached out on one of the Barbie Facebook groups, and somebody had said they had him and they wanted to sell him to me, and they had posted images of him that I had literally never seen before. Like, I couldn't do a reverse image search on Google because there were no results. So I thought they actually had him, and turns out they were just scamming me out of over $100. So be careful, you all. There are some despicable people out there that prey on some of us desperate collectors. But the second item in my Grail list is also a Barbie related item, and I would really love to own the 2007 Barbie CRT television with all of its parts, because while there are a lot of listings of it on the internet, there are no listings of it that I have seen in recent times where it's got all of the parts, because it specifically has these little flower pieces on top of it that for some reason they designed it to pop off of the television. And well, I'm guessing they did that so that you could box it easier in shipping, but I don't know what happened. I guess everybody in the world lost those little flowers on top, but it is so impossible to find it with the flowers attached. And the flowers have the Barbie logo on it. I mean, I want that. I don't even know, because I've never even seen a picture of it in the box, so I don't know if it came with its own remote or not, but if it did, I would love to have the remote. I want all the pieces to it. You know, I want it in good condition. I love those early 2000s novelty TVs. Like they did a Shrek television, a Disney Princess television that was really cool. But the Barbie one I think would be really cool to add to my collection. And if I ever did find like a broken one that didn't work, I would love for it to work. But if I ever found a broken one that didn't work, it'd be cool to have like hollowed out the television and just kind of have like a display of early 2000s Barbies inside of it. I think that would be really cool. Now, the first actual Barbie doll that I have on here is kind of a recent one, actually, and it is the entire Mark Ryden Barbie collection that released a couple years ago. Y'all, I hate that I couldn't afford any of those dolls at the time that they released. If you didn't notice, like I didn't talk about that collection at all. And it's just because I was so heartbroken that I couldn't afford any of it at the time. And now I wish I had taken out a loan or something, because those dolls are selling for some ridiculous prices on the secondhand market. And I knew that was going to happen. And I'm kicking myself. I will forever be kicking myself for not somehow getting them whenever they first released. So I would love to own the whole collection because I love Mark Ryden. I love his surrealist artwork. One of my favorite works of art ever, like physical works of art, is that painting that he did of that little girl praying up to a superstar Barbie. I, I've always loved that image. I think I actually had it as my cell phone wallpaper at one point in time. But yeah, I want the whole line, especially the pink pop Millie doll that came out. That whole set, and this collection isn't really something that typically caters to me. Like, these are works of art. Like, if I got these dolls, there would be no customization. I would literally have them framed because it's just that beautiful as an art piece. Even though I don't like Millie's, like, this one is so cool. Like, the pale skin tone that they gave her, with the hot pink hair, the like candy cane striped stockings, like, and also all the like custom little accessories that came with it, like that like alpaca teddy bear thing, the flower pots, and the background painting that he did for it. No AI art involved. Like, this was actually an artist that painted this background. It's just so beautiful. And I wish, because like back then I was like $150. That's ridiculous. But now that I see her on eBay selling for over $900, I'm like, I wish I would have paid that 150. But also I would love to get the Barbie at the Surrealist Ball set. This black and white set is so gorgeous because of course I love grayscale things. That set is just perfect for me, and I absolutely love that they had printed one of the dolls in the lightest skin tone that Mattel makes dolls in and the darkest skin tone that Mattel makes dolls in. Not a huge fan of the face sculpts that were chosen, but I mean, as an art piece, like I said, they can contrast really well with each other. And that like weird eye post that they have sculpted for it is also really cool. Like I said, it's beautiful as like a work of art. It's gorgeous. And also, of course, I would love to get the bee. Now, the bee is probably my least favorite one out of everything that he had done, but I still love it because it's super camp. And I have always really loved the idea of Mattel making a black and white version of the original 1959 Barbie, like the #1 with the white irises. And that doll is almost that. It would be perfect if she actually had rooted hair, but I believe that they had flocked her hair under the bee suit. I wish that they had actually rooted her hair in like a black and white gray and given her her original hairstyle with the perm bangs and had like a little bee antenna head accessory instead of having a whole hood. That way I could have got my black and white original Barbie. I would still love for Mattel to do that one day, and it's something that I could definitely see them doing for Barbie's anniversary one year. But yeah, the Mark Ryden Barbie collection, that is definitely at the top of my Grail list. Now, next up on the list is a bunch of convention exclusive Barbie dolls, all of which were designed by Carlisle Noetta. I did notice on this list I have a lot of dolls that were either designed by Carlisle or were designed by Bob Mackie. I got a lot of Carlisle and Bob Mackie dolls on this list. But anyway, the first convention exclusive dolls that I have on this list are a few specific chromatic couture Barbies that he designed. Specifically the blue Mariko, the red Madame Lavinia, the purple Diva, and also the orange Louis Vuitton sculpt. And I just love these dolls because I love the creative uses of these face sculpts. That's something that I always praise Carlisle for his designs. I love the Mariko because she's got the espresso skin tone. She's got June skin tone, so I would unfortunately have to make her tall if I ever got her. But well, I mean, when I get her, I will get her one day. She's such a gorgeous doll, and I've always thought that she is a really great like Blasian representation. I just love how he had used that Asian specific face sculpt in that dark skin tone. I love when Carlisle makes like mixed race looking dolls like that. Now that I think about it, I believe that the blue and the red chromatic couture Barbies ended up being Japan exclusive because that was kind of the year the Earth stood still. So those ended up being the rarer out of all the chromatic couture Barbies. Of course, the second one being the red Madame Lavinia Barbie. I love this use of the Madame Lavinia sculpt. Now they have made lighter skin tone Madame Lavinia Barbies since then, but I still love her facial screening. And I think it's so cool with her face sculpt and her jawline and her lips and the red hair. I think she's such a beautiful doll. I like the dolls' designs, but mostly it's just kind of for their face sculpts. Like the purple Diva, which was one of the more recent chromatic couture Barbies. She's the second to last, I believe, because the line has ended. But she is another one of my grails because, like I mentioned before, I love Barbies with purple lipstick because it reminds me of my mom because she's been wearing purple lipstick since the 1980s. Like she is still rocking it. And I absolutely love the screening on the Diva from that year, and Diva is such a rare sculpt for Mattel to use. Once I get Diva, I've got to give her bangs. Like that forehead, that sculpt was made to have bangs, so she's gonna get bangs once I get her. But her and also the orange Louis Vuitton, which is probably my least favorite one, but I still want her because I love the Louis Vuitton sculpt made in that dark skin tone, I don't think they ever have made it in that skin tone ever since then. Such a unique looking doll. Love adding unique looking dolls to my collection. So that's just kind of the main reason why I want all those chromatic couture Barbies. But another set that I would love to own is the Barbie Power Pair set. Now, if you remember, I had unboxed the Barbie Power Pair set on my channel in the past, like the white version that I had got from Stovall, but I have since never been able to track down the black version, and that collection, like that set of dolls, has become a lot more rare over time, and it makes me really sad because I really want to have them because one of the dolls uses the model of the moment Marissa face sculpts, and just like the Diva sculpt, the model of the moment sculpts aren't really chosen by Barbie designers ever. Like nobody wants to use those for some reason, but I think the model of the moment sculpts are so beautiful, and I love the Marissa in the set. I love how Carlisle had used her in a unique way and gave her those beautiful braids, that beautiful side glance, and I want her in my collection so bad. She actually reminds me a lot of Toya from My Froggy stuff, and I'm honestly surprised that Mattel has never made an official My Froggy Stuff Barbie, because I feel like if any Barbie YouTuber deserves their own official doll made by Mattel, it's her, because she's really stuck with Mattel through thick and thin, through the dark ages, really. But yeah, I'm gonna own that set one day because I have to have that Marissa. I actually really don't have a whole lot of model of the moment sculpts in my collection at all. Really, Nichelle is the only one that I have. So, and I've got two Nichelles. I got the original Nichelle, and then I have the uh, Roots, the Roots Nichelle. And this one was also designed by Carlisle. You see, Carlisle's the only designer that thinks to use these vintage sculpts, and that makes me so sad. But of course, I also would really love to own the Barbie Basics Black Ken, like the male doll in that set as well. I think he's really handsome. I wish I had put her with these dolls because I know that she's on here as well. Oh, the 2018 On the Avenue Daria Barbie. The dolls for the 2018 Barbie convention were really controversial because they were really out there to what Barbie collectors were used to seeing from convention exclusive dolls at the time. And Carlisle that year had designed a collection called On the Avenue. One of them was using the model of the moment Daria face sculpt in a lighter complexion, and the other one was using the Harlem Theater Selma face sculpt in the Afro skin tone. And I think that just the screening style, the overall vibe, and the fact that they were curvy dolls, because I don't think up until that point that they've ever had a convention exclusive curvy doll before. I think all of that combined is why people thought they looked weird for convention dolls. Like I guess some people were saying that because they weren't Model Muse, they kind of looked play line. But since then, both of those dolls have become very, very, very sought after. And the Daria Barbie specifically, I would really love to add her to the collection because I think she's so cool looking. I love her facial screening and the side glance. Like, to me, I think these dolls look absolutely beautiful, and I would certainly be ecstatic to get them at a Barbie convention. But I don't know what people just didn't. They don't like new things sometimes. I notice a pattern with doll collectors, and it's so silly, but like, I see it so often. Like, a company will release something new and different looking, and at the time, everybody's super negative about it, and then years later, whenever that thing is super hard to track down for a good price, like it's reselling for so much on eBay, they're like, damn, I wish I would have supported that thing whenever it was new. Like, it was such a fresh new idea, and the stuff they release now is so boring. It's like the same thing happened with BMR 1959. Now, a lot of people now are saying they love the BMR 1959 collection just for being something that was fresh and new and different. And I think those On the Avenue dolls are another good example of that. But yeah, I would love to have the Daria specifically because I don't have any other Darias in my collection, and I think she's super beautiful. And the Selma doll is also really pretty, but I already have a couple of Selmas that I already love in my collection, so she's not like a necessity for me. All right, so moving on to a couple vintage dolls on this list that are kind of out of the era of dolls that I collect, but I absolutely have to own him, specifically the original Hispanic Ken from 1983. I absolutely have to have that guy, and I think if I don't get him sooner, I'm probably going to order him and unbox him for Hispanic Heritage Month this year, because I can afford him, but I'm looking for the right time. You know, a lot of these dolls, like, I can buy right now, but I want to get like a good deal on it, or I want to find it at like a doll show or something. It's so fun to find things to me. So that's why I don't buy everything all at once. But yeah, I absolutely have to own the original 1983 Sensational Malibu Hispanic Ken. Now, this guy was the first Hispanic doll that Mattel had ever released, and he's super, super handsome. And he had his own unique face sculpt. And it makes me sad that they kind of forgot about that face sculpt and never really used it again for another major release. Like, the sculpt was used on the 1984 Sun Gold Malibu Ken that was basically the same doll, so I don't really consider it a different release. Same screening, just a different outfit. And the Hawaiian Ken, again, like he was really the same exact doll as the original 1983 doll. So I don't really consider those new releases of him whenever it's just kind of like a repackaged and redressed version of the original guy. But any of those three, just one doll that uses that original Hispanic Ken face sculpt, I would really love to own one day. And I would love for Mattel to make like a reproduction of him one day. I know that he never was used for like a official named Barbie friend or anything, but I would love for them to bring some of these obscure face sculpts back. I mean, they could totally scan that face sculpt in and modify it to work with the new neck mechanism and use it on a modern doll. Like if I worked at Mattel and I was calling the shots, you always see a lot of deep cut references like that. But I would love to own multiples of him because I want to have one displayed wearing the 1964, and this is the oldest thing I think I have on my list, the 1964 Ken in Mexico fashion. I think that would be so cool to have the original Hispanic Ken wearing that outfit. And that outfit, because it's from the 60s, is so nice quality. I love the sombrero that is actually a fabric material. I don't mind the sculpted plastic sombreros that Mattel releases nowadays, but it's so cool to have one that's actually made out of fabric. But also another doll that I have on here from the 60s is just a Brad. Just a Brad. Any Brad, or Curtis, I guess, because they're kind of the same character. But just, I would love to have a Brad in my collection one day. And of course, I am forever wishing that Mattel would make a reproduction of Brad one day, because Brad was an actual character, unlike Hispanic Ken. Brad was a character in the Barbie canon. He was Christie's boyfriend. And the first doll, I believe, that he ever had was the talking Brad with the pull string. Now, Mattel doesn't really make pull string dolls anymore, but they could somehow, I don't know if they have those, like the original recordings of those sound clips in their archive or something, or if they could just use some kind of technology to extract the original recordings from whatever sound box they have in those old dolls. But it would be cool if they were to make a reproduction of all of the talking dolls from the 1960s and have it, instead of like a pull string, maybe still have the pull string, but have it also have like a click button on the back or something that could make it more immortal of a feature. All right, so next on my list, I have another male doll that I really want to own one day, and that is the 2004 Happy Family Neighbor Dad that Mattel released back in the early 2000s. And this guy is extremely rare. Both of the neighbors from the Happy Family line are very rare, but the dad in particular, he's super rare, and I think it's just because he's the only doll that Mattel ever released with that face sculpt. Like, there were no other uses of it ever again. Now, a little bit of lore about this face sculpt is, I always thought he looked so specific. Like, why would Mattel, especially back then, whenever it wasn't as cheap, because, you know, now they have all this 3D modeling technology, but back then, why would they put so much effort into this random side character's face sculpt back then? But I had actually found out recently from my friend Michael Osborne, or Proto Guy on Instagram, that the face sculpt that was used on the Happy Family Neighbor Dad was originally going to be a Ken face sculpt. Like, it was actually going to be the new face of Ken, but Mattel ended up going with something else. And I guess somebody working at the company still wanted to use that face sculpt on a doll and not let it go to waste. So they did end up using it on the neighbor dad. I think that is super cool, and I love hearing behind the scenes stuff like that. And Michael actually has a prototype of a Ken that was originally going to be released with that face sculpt. And his facial screening that was hand painted on, it's like an actual hand painted prototype, looks so different than the Happy Family Neighbor Dad. But I still want to own him one day just for that unique face sculpt. I guess keeping on the theme of male dolls, the 2005 Cali Guy Steven, that guy is so handsome, and I would really love to own him one day. I think he's probably one of the best black dolls that Mattel had released in the early 2000s. He is so handsome, and I love his rooted afro, and the fact that they gave him blue eyes is super interesting because they never release black male dolls with colored eyes other than brown. So I'd really love to own him one day. And also from the early 2000s, a couple of Fashion Fever dolls, and I'd be happy to get any Fashion Fever dolls. Like, I honestly, the whole Fashion Fever collection would be on my Grail list, but a couple of specific ones is the 2005 Fashion Fever Modern Trends Tia. I think she's on everybody's Grail list. This girl is so cute. I love the fact that they had used the Teen Skipper face sculpt in a more tan complexion. She's got such a cute and unique side eye. I love her aesthetic too, like the outfit that they have her in with a little knitted hat and the green cardigan I believe she's wearing with a little skirt. She's so cute. If I get her, I'd probably rebody her, but I think I'd keep her in her original outfit. Her and the 2005 Fashion Fever Shannon. I think she's like the first Shannon that they released with the Tango face sculpt. And whenever I was looking her up, I never realized how rarely Mattel uses the Tango face sculpt. But the Shannon character in the Fashion Fever line was the first Barbie friend to use the Tango face sculpt. So sometimes people will call Tango Shannon. And Shannon didn't really have an identity out of Fashion Fever, but I think she's still super beautiful. And I love that chain belt that she comes with. It's super cool, super edgy. But I also have a lot of Indigenous and Native American Barbies on my wish list, mostly because these dolls are super, super expensive to get secondhand. I guess starting out, one of my all-time favorite Native American Barbies that Mattel has ever made is the 2006 Wind Rider Barbie. She is so breathtaking, honestly. Like, this doll design is so amazing. I love everything about her. She's so cool. I love the fact that they had used one of the Model of the Moment face sculpts. So she uses the Daria face sculpt, like that On the Avenue Barbie that we had just talked about. And she's got these really beautiful Dreamcatcher earrings. She's got so many fur and fringe details, so many beaded details. Like, this is a quality doll. If Mattel were to release this nowadays, she would cost like $500 is what they'd be asking for her. But she's absolutely gorgeous, and I will have her one day. One day. Her alongside the 2001 Barbie Native Spirit collection. Now, for the Native Spirit collection, there were 3 dolls. There was one for the earth, the sky, and the water. And they're all beautiful. But my favorite one is the Spirit of the Water Barbie with the Laura face sculpt. I think she's so cute. She's got some beautiful tribal face makeup. I mean, these dolls, all of them are super, super high quality. And the fact that she comes with an actual working rain stick, like a miniature rain stick, is so, so cool. And I love that they gave that to her because she's the spirit of the water. So I would love to own them all one day, but if I could just choose one, it would be the Spirit of the Water Barbie from 2001, I believe is when she first came out. But another Native American Barbie that Mattel released a little earlier was the 2000 Barbie Goddess of the Americas doll that was designed by Bob Mackie, and she is based off of the Aztec tribe, more so like the southwestern Native American Barbie, and she is so gorgeous. She of course uses the goddess face sculpt. That might actually be where the goddess face sculpt gets its name from, because it was used on her. But she is so gorgeous. Like, the whole design of that doll, like her exaggerated braids that go all the way to the floor, her turquoise eye makeup, like that sculpted Aztec eagle that they have behind her. I mean, it's so beautiful. One of her actually listed on the Facebook Marketplace recently for $50, but she was way out of my city, like 4 hours away, like in the middle of nowhere. The dolls like her just go to show that you don't have to be from a specific culture to design a good cultural doll like that, because she was designed by Bob Mackie. She's another one on this list that was designed by him. And she is such a beautiful and extremely coveted among Barbie collectors Native American Barbie doll. Oh, looky here, another Bob Mackie entry into my Grail list. That would be the 2007 half-breed Cher Barbie. Now, even though I do not abide by every homosexual stereotype, I do love Cher, of course, and her song Half Breed is my absolute favorite song that she has ever released. And I know it's kind of controversial because Cher isn't Native American at all. But as a character, I think that she does a good job at telling that story. And I think that a lot of mixed people can really relate to it, like not feeling like you are from either place 100%. And that doll is absolutely beautiful of her. And if you're looking to get a Cher doll, I'd probably get one as soon as you can, because once she dies, these dolls are going to absolutely skyrocket. But I really would love to own the 2007 half-breed Cher that was designed by Bob Mackie. Well, he designed the original costume that was used in the music video, and this doll is meant to replicate the original costume. And it does a really good job at that. I mean, super, super, super high quality. And she's got her own sculpted to likeness face sculpt. So that's really, really cool. Also, a few more Latina Barbies that I would really love to own would be both versions of the Barbie Dolls of the World Mexico doll. The first one from 2011 with the pink dress, and the second one from 2014 with the sombrero and the mariachi outfit. I love the Barbie Dolls of the World line, and I know that Mattel would probably never do it again because so many people on the internet are so oversensitive about stereotypes, even though the stereotypes wouldn't exist if they weren't common things. But the story about this doll, and I'm sure you all have already heard about it, is that they had first released the 2011 Mexico Barbie with the pink dress, and people thought she was like a negative stereotype for whatever reason. I guess because she came with a Chihuahua, even though Chihuahuas were literally bred in Mexico. It's literally a Mexican breed of dog. I mean, the Aztecs ate Chihuahuas. It's so stupid. Oh my God. Like, my family owns a Chihuahua. Like, we're Latino. We have a Chihuahua in our house. Like, should we not have that because it's stereotypical? What should they have given her? Like a Xolo dog? People would have said the same thing. They would have said that, oh, like, of course you gave her a Xolo dog. She's from Mexico. Oh, of course you gave her an axolotl. She's from Mexico. Like, so stupid. But in 2014, Mattel had also released another version of that doll that I guess those activists liked more, which was a Barbie dressed as a mariachi. She had a sombrero, and she's got this really cute mariachi outfit, like with the vest and the shirts and the pants. I mean, she's really beautiful, and I love both versions of that doll, and I'd really love to own them one day. They both still use the Tango face sculpt, and I guess that was just kind of Mattel's response to that stupid controversy. Another line that Mattel would probably never bring back is the 2009 Festivals of the World collection. I really would love to own the Cinco de Mayo Barbie. I think she's super beautiful. Another beautiful tango. I guess Mattel does kind of use or do Festivals of the World, but they don't call it that anymore. Like, we get Dia de Muertos Barbie every year. We get Lunar New Year Barbie every year. And I guess that they would be in this collection if it still existed. But speaking of Dia de Muertos Barbie, I would love to own the original Dia de Muertos Barbie that was released in 2019. Now, back then, I've been collecting since 2017. So back then, $100 to me was a lot for a Barbie doll. And I wish I would have got her back then. Because she's the first in the series, and honestly, she's one of the best ones that Mattel has released so far. It's just because she's got so much extra embroidery and details in her, because I guess they didn't expect it to turn into a yearly thing. They they didn't know how the series was going to be received, so they put everything into the first doll. She's got so much like painted detail on her that's just not present in the newer Dia de Muertos Barbies. But I would really, really love to own her one day. But of course, she's become super, super expensive over time. And she's super beautiful. She's very beautiful. I love the blue streaks in her hair and the braids. If any of y'all have these dolls and you don't mind parting with them for a reasonable price, hit me up. All right, another Latina Barbie that I would really love to own would be the 2012 Banana Bonanza Brazilian Barbie that whenever I was researching her, I didn't realize she used the Generation Girl face sculpt, but she actually does. She's super, super beautiful. Oh my goodness. This doll has so much detail in her. Like, she's probably super heavy from all these little plastic bananas that are attached to her dress, but she's such a beautiful doll. She's probably the closest thing that will ever do to like a Honduras Barbie, since Dolls of the World will never come back. I would love like an official Honduras Barbie, but this is probably the closest thing I could ever get to it. But she's super beautiful. I'd really love to own her one day. And also, speaking of Latina Barbies, of course, I love Shakira. Hell, one of the first Spanish songs that I ever remember listening to as a kid, besides Selena. And I'd really love for Mattel to release a new Selena Barbie, but it was Shakira's Whenever, Wherever, or Suerte in Spanish is what it's called. But I would absolutely be thrilled to own the original Whenever, Wherever Shakira doll that Mattel released in the early 2000s. They released a whole collection of Shakira Barbies, and they're all beautiful. They're all super nice quality, and their facial screenings are so beautiful. Even though she didn't get a sculpted to likeness face sculpt, she did use Leia, I believe, is what they used for Shakira. But she's super beautiful. Every single doll of her is super beautiful. But if I were just to get one, it would be the Shakira from the Whenever, Wherever music video. Even though the outfit doesn't include all of the details that were in the real life version, I think it's still a cute miniature representation of it. I'm kind of jumbling around here a bit, but another doll that I would really love to own in my collection would be the original Teresa Barbie, like new in the box, alongside the 1979 first Hispanic Barbie, like the very, very first Hispanic Barbie ever. Would really love to own her with the stuffy face sculpt. She's super, super beautiful. I saw her once at an antique shop in Chattanooga, but they wanted way too much for her. Also, this is another deep cut, and I will never own this guy because he's stupid rare, but the 1988 Olympico Ken with the Derek face sculpt. Now, he is a Venezuela exclusive, and I don't know many people who own him in real life, but whenever I do see him for sale online, he's super, super expensive. So I'll never own that guy, but I guess I really want him just because they never really used the Derek face sculpt for much else outside of Barbie and the Rockers, but this release of Olympico Ken actually used the Derek face sculpt in a darker skin tone than the original Derek had, and I like that creative use of that sculpt for him. Now, Mattel has released a few quinceañera Barbies over the years, and I really would love to own the one from 2000 with the Generation Girl face sculpt, the Hispanic version with the brunette hair. I think the 2000 version of Quinceañera Barbie is probably the best that Mattel has ever done, just because of all of the extra things that she comes with. Like, she comes with a cake, I believe, and she also comes with a doll, which, if you know anything about quinceañeras, like, a lot of times tradition is that you will get like your last doll, like your last childhood doll, as a gift, and that would be so traumatic for me. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, what do you mean I can't have any more dolls after 15? But you know, it's just kind of seen as like you're growing up more so, and I think the inclusion of a miniature doll for the doll is an important element to have in it. But I think kind of the idea of the later quinceañera Barbies is that like the Barbie is supposed to be like your final doll. And that's kind of how I see the one from 2017 that Carlisle Nuera designed. And I love her. I love her design. I love the fact that he had used the Teresa face sculpt for her. I thought that was such a perfect choice. Still don't have a Dia de Muertos Teresa, but uh, we got a Quinceañera Teresa from 2017 from Carlisle, and he's not even Hispanic. Um, but she was super cool to see because it was the first time in a long time where we had seen Teresa's 90s face sculpt, and I would really love to own her one day. I think she's super beautiful. I love her little silver tiara. All right, I don't think I can really categorize these. I mean, these are kind of just some random releases that I would really love to own one day. But the 2008 Ken in India doll, I would really love to own one day, just because I don't really have a lot of South Asian male dolls in my collection, and of course because he's super handsome. Him and the 2001 Tales of the Arabian Nights Ken using the Tango face sculpt. He is super, super gorgeous. Like, I love his facial hair and his earring. I actually would love to own the original Tango set of dolls. I wouldn't say it's on my Grail list, but like the original dolls that use the male and female versions of the Tango face sculpt would be really cool to own. Also, I would love a doll with the 1983 Black Crystal Ken sculpt with the sculpted fro. And I think the Sensational Malibu Ken, the black version, had his sculpt. And for the most part, every doll that was released with that sculpt kind of had the same look to them. But some of them had more like bushier eyebrows and some of them had cleaner eyebrows. I can't really decide which one I like better, but I want one doll with that face sculpt. Also, a more modern release would be the 2021 Keith Barbie. Now, a lot of y'all will remember this fiasco. We waited on this doll for years and years and years, and then she ended up being super limited, and hardly anybody could get a hold of her. But to this day, she is on my Grail list. The Keith Nichelle Barbie that used the model of the moment Nichelle face sculpt. She would be the third one in my collection with the Nichelle face sculpt. But she's super beautiful. I love her flocked buzz cut, and all the outfit pieces that she comes with I think are really awesome, and I definitely use them in my collection. Also, another modern one would be the 2019 Birthday Wishes June doll. Now, I do have one from that set. I do have the Birthday Wishes Christie from 2019. And I'll always say that like 2019 was like the last year of good Birthday Wishes dolls because they were still doing all the different variants, but now they just have one doll a year. I think that's super sad, but that collection was designed by Carlisle Nuera, and for some reason, I don't know why, I didn't pick up the June that year, even though even back then I loved June. Like, she will always be my favorite face sculpt. I think honestly I was just worried about getting one with a wonky facial screening because I did end up having to buy like 5 Christies before I got one that looked presentable. But yeah, Birthday Wishes June from 2019 is definitely something that would be perfect for me to open on my birthday one year. Ooh, okay, I'll save her for last. But let's talk about Barbie Basics for a second. So we know Barbie Basics has come back and they have this new collection, but there are a couple Barbie Basics dolls from the 2010s that I would love to own, and I think these dolls look super unique, especially the first one. I would love to own the number 9, I believe, the one with the diva face sculpt and the platinum bob. I love her. She's beautiful. Not everybody will get it, but I think she's so cool looking. I love, of course, the modern screenings that they gave to the diva face sculpt along with the other vintage face sculpts in the original Barbie Basics line. Her alongside 2 Steffies, actually. So the number 3, well, I think in the 2010s, the numbers kind of coordinate with the face sculpts. So both of these are number 3, but the 2 releases of the Steffi I would love, because I don't have a whole lot of Steffies in my collection. Actually, the first modern Steffi that I've added to my collection is the Chase Midge. I mean, she's really the only modern Steffi I have, but the redhead Steffi, which I believe was a Target exclusive maybe, but she's super beautiful. I'd love to have her. And also the brunette Steffi with the blue eyeshadow and blue eyes. I think both of them are absolutely gorgeous, and I would love to own them one day. I think apart from them, I've kind of already thrifted all of the other Barbie Basics from the 2010s that I would have loved to add to my collection. Only other one that I might want would be the Tango. I think the Tango is really beautiful. All right, so the last two dolls on my Barbie Grail list would be, and I'm gonna keep this one kind of vague, a black Odile. I would love to own a black doll with the Odile face sculpt. And I know that Angel Kent did design a doll with the Odile face sculpt that was black, but she was a convention exclusive. And I'm sure that he will grace us with a more easily obtainable doll with the Odile face sculpt and a darker skin complexion. And she doesn't have to be black. I mean, she could be an Indian doll with a darker skin tone, or she could be indigenous, or, you know, I just want more variation with the Odile face sculpt. I mean, she's always kind of ambiguous looking, but I mean, you know, they've all kind of had a lighter skin tone for the most part. So I would definitely love to own a black Odile Barbie, along with the final doll on my Barbie Grail list, which is Barbie Fashionista number 44. That's her. Yes, Barbie Fashionista number 44 was released in 2016, so literally a year before I started collecting. And the thing about collecting these older Barbie Fashionistas is that once they're out and gone, it's really hard to get like a good one of them. I love this doll. She's so aggressively mid-2010s lesbian. It almost hurts. Like her blonde coif with her flocked side shades and her little vest, and I can just imagine her having a million pride pins on it. And I love the fact that she uses the Leia face sculpt in a more tan complexion, which we very rarely see her, and because she's like an East Asian sculpt. And I love her like mid-2010s no makeup look. I mean, she's so of her era, but I would love to own that doll, like a good one with like symmetrical eyes, which, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's a lot to ask for, but you know, whenever we're talking Mattel, apparently it is. But yeah, that is my Barbie Grail list. So let me know, did you all learn of any new dolls today that you would like to add to your Grail list? And leave in the comment section down below any of them that I didn't mention that you personally would love to own one day. And with that, as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy this content to help me out in the algorithm, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you so, so much.